Good morning. I'm Mary.
I'm Linda, and welcome to Pinky Ball Sisters in the Kitchen. And we are making something. Mary always says she's making something simple. Well, I'm making something pretty simple today. It's taco cornbread.
Oh, I know. This sounds delicious, Linda.
So we're gonna get our hamburger meat cooking first.
Let me get on here.
Because we need to let this cool just a bit before we start our cornbread.
Okay.
Mary, would you put the salt and pepper over there? Would you hand that to me? And the onions, please.
Okay.
Thank you. And our little mixing top here. Hope I'm not going to make too much.
You need to make it. This is onions.
Yeah, I'm going to cook this just a minute.
Oh, okay.
Put them in.
Okay.
And I don't know.
You're using your little salt and pepper holder.
I am. I'm not actually going to measure this. I'm just going to put a little salt and pepper. I don't actually want to put too much because it's going to have cheese in it. It's going to have taco seasoning.
You're putting hot cheese in it, aren't you?
Yeah. Isn't that pretty?
It is. I love that.
I love it.
Little holder.
I think it's so. Thank you, Mary. And you know what, Mary? I think I'm going to put the taco seasoning in here too.
Okay.
So if you'll get that, ooh, that pepper's taking my breath away.
I knew you put a lot of pepper in there. This is taco seasoning.
I'm just going to get this started and then I'm going to add the onions. In that drawer there, Mary. This is 96.4 hamburger, so you'll notice that there's not really any fat in this. It's real lean.
Are you putting one of those spoons?
Yeah, I'm gonna do one. I made this a week or so ago, and I really did like it. Now that looks like a lot, but it's gonna make it taste like tacos.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Ooh, that smells like tacos. Okay, now I'm gonna add my. This is minced onion, and this is a little bit less than what I've got on the recipe on the jalapeno, just because I don't want it to be too hot for Mary.
Oh, well, thank you, Linda.
You're welcome. Y'all know I get happy with my cayenne and my jalapeno.
Well, you could have put more jalapeno in there.
No.
I might not even get a hold of some.
You would have known it, believe me.
Yeah,
Because what I made it had a kick to it. It wasn't a little kick, it had a good kick to it. That smells good, don't it?
It does smell good.
We'll just,
I could make a meal out of this cornbread, the meat and the cornbread and a glass of milk.
I ate it with tomato soup. Is what I ate it with.
Okay.
I think it would be good with, and I also ate it with. You remember when Mama used to just boil potatoes?
Yes.
Nothing else, just salt and pepper and some bacon grease.
Yes.
And I ate it with a bowl of them.
That would be good too. Yeah, that's what Mama
And,
did. It was good. When you're sick, Linda, when we're sick, at least I am,
Yep.
that's what I want, is just plain potato soup.
Nothing in it.
Nothing in it.
One time when I was not feeling good and I wanted something, this has been, I don't know, years ago, and I wanted some potatoes, just potatoes cooked. Yeah. And so Mike, he come in here, you know, and he fixed up the little potatoes and he put beef broth in it.
Oh, no. That's not what you wanted.
Any other time I would have loved it, but I'm like, what did you put in this? I just wanted potatoes.
Well, you know what? When you're sick, Mama always said that's the best thing. Her mother and Molly both said that. Best thing for you when you're sick is just to boil some potatoes and drink that soup, and it's good for you.
And you know, they did that in part because that's what they had.
Right.
But it does have a lot of nutrition in it, and it's like anything else. It's something from your childhood that you had at certain times. I associate different times in my life with, of course you do associate it with either sad times or happy times.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know, just plain old boiled potatoes with bacon grease and salt and pepper. There is nothing any better than a piece of cornbread.
Well, Linda, there's something else that I'm almost sure that I'm right about. It seems like that Mother told me, I'm thinking about when we lived down there close to her, we lived in Goodman Community, that that you boil, when you're sick, is to boil an onion. Chop up an onion and boil it, and then strain the onions off and drink that. Have you ever heard of that?
That sounds like a terrible idea.
That is something that I would not want, but I'm sure that it's something
I think that's
that
what
old people.
Molly. I think that
Old people did.
I forgot why she told me that. I'm sure I didn't do
Well,
it.
onions have antioxidants in it,
Yeah.
don't they?
They probably do.
But I can tell you, I'll be 74 in a few weeks, and I guarantee I had never drank that.
I'm sure I didn't.
Child.
But I'll tell you what, the reason I say that is because this was during a hard, difficult time for us because my husband, he had his own business at that time. And we lived out in the country. My kids were abroad of school. And that was some of the hardest times of our married life. And for some reason that I remember Molly telling Mother to tell me to do that. I don't remember if I was sick or what, but I didn't do it, I'm quite sure, because I don't even like onions. But it seemed like she told me that. And I may be wrong, but I think she did, because that's what I think of. Ooh, that looks good.
I'm not browning this.
Okay.
I don't want it brown. It's going to cook some more in the cornbread. And show them this cheese, Mary, while I break the
She's
stuff in
putting
here.
this, this is a Kroger brand, but it's a queso bronco with the, is that what you call it, Branco?
Blanco.
I
With
know.
jalapeno.
With
Yeah.
jalapenos. It's a white cheese. It's kind of
Yeah.
like Velveeta.
It's kind of like
white
Velveeta. We
cheese.
call it hot cheese.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, Linda, if you'll hand me that lid over there.
Yes, ma'am.
I turned the burner off on this, and I'm just going
Just
to
gonna
put
let
this
that-
lid on and let this melt
That
and
cheese melt.
take it off the burner. And then we're going to go back over to the counter and mix up our cornbread.
Okay.
And I don't want, I think before I go over there, I think I'm going to go ahead and put my skillet in the oven with some
Your, for the cornbread?
Yeah.
Now, what are you going to put
Come
in
on.
this skillet? Do you want me to put some in there for you?
Just put about a tablespoonful of oil and that bacon grease that I've got out there, Mary, if you don't mind.
So both?
Yes.
Oil and bacon?
Yes. And because I want it to be, I want it to have a little crust to it.
Okay. And this is the bacon grease you got out here?
Yes, and that spoon.
Now, you've got this on the burner. You have this.
I do, but I'm gonna put
You
it
want
in
the whole
oven.
skillet
I'll
to
pick
be
it up. I'll
yeah.
pick it up whenever.
Ooh, that bacon grease smells good.
I'll do it.
I was trying to get all that bacon grease off with a spoon, and I was trying to. Okay, all right.
It's already getting hot, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is. It's real hot. That's what I
In
said.
fact, I may just turn this off.
I think I would.
Then we'll put some.
Yeah.
If we have to turn it back on when we get this done, we
Okay.
will. Do you think it's not gonna smoke, is it, if we leave it on the burner,
Let
Mary?
me check.
Don't
Well,
move it.
No.
Okay. Okay, so, y'all, I know how to make cornbread. I'm asking my sister something, y'all know I do that. But, so we've got, this is just a self-rising and cornmeal mix here. And, Mary, I'll let you break the eggs and you can just put them in the milk if you want to. And then, I've got, my measurements there. So, my little bowl scraper. I like this better than I do the spatula, Mary.
Do you?
Getting stuff out of the bowl.
I
I
do this a lot,
absolutely
don't
do. I love it.
Now this is just plain whole
With whole
milk.
milk and eggs. And then, if you'll give me,
What do you need?
let's see, I'm gonna make sure that I hadn't left nothing out.
Okay. Well, you got your cornmeal in there.
One of these. With,
Okay.
I'm putting some baking powder and a little salt in it.
Okay. This is your baking powders.
And some baking soda.
Okay. Salt.
I keep thinking that I need to giving you stuff to do, and I don't pick up anything. Mary. If I tell you to do something and you gotta pick it up, please don't.
I'm not. That's this is baking soda.
Baking
I
soda.
just put baking powders, and now that was baking soda. So baking powders,
I've
salt.
got all this in here,
And that's self-rising meal, cornmeal
cornmeal
mix.
mix. Yes. So, and you may wonder why I'm putting the soda and baking powder in it, but I am. So I'm gonna use my mixer here to. Oops, I'm putting my battery on here. I wonder it's not working. I'm using the whisk beaters there,
Okay.
and you don't need this to mix up cornbread, but I want to do it because I want it to be mixed up really well.
Okay.
This is a pretty thin batter.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And you can go ahead and pour the corn in there.
Okay. Let me get a spatula.
There's one over there that's by the oil.
Okay, I see it.
I'm trying to not dirty up so many dishes.
And this is cream corn.
So you know we won't have to
I
wash.
know. This is cream style
It's
corn.
it's the frozen corn.
Frozen,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's a whole package.
Ooh, that is a lot of corn. Let me,
And I kind of semi-used immersion blender to kind of mix it up a little. It's gonna have
but
some
out
old
the package,
kernels. Yeah.
out the package, you still mixed it up. I mean,
Use
blended
the
it.
immersion blender
Okay,
to
okay.
get a little bit of creaminess in it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's still gonna have some texture.
But it is cream style to begin
Yes,
with.
it is. It's thick sweet. You can tell there's some corn in it. When I did it
I
the
know
other
that's
day, I
good.
completely did my, I completely creamed it
Creamed
with immersion blender,
Okay.
but I only did it part of the way today.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna move over here and we're gonna add, you can tell this is real thin,
Okay.
and we're gonna add the meat to this, and then we're gonna put it in the skillet. So, I think I'll let you turn that skillet back on again, Mary.
On
Just
high?
so- Yeah, just so we can get it smoking real good.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, oh, Mary.
It wasn't hot. It was fine.
I'm gonna, cook it for 375 for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna bump it up to 400.
Okay.
And y'all will notice that, I've got, FedEx. Get my other packages.
Now you need a.
I'm gonna get another,
or
I'm gonna get a
spatula.
spatula to get this out of there.
You don't stir that up.
Yeah.
Gonna get that cheese.
This is
good.
hot, but it's, now, when I made this before, I layered it, but it all went to the bottom. So I'm just gonna mix this in with my batter,
Okay.
and it still may go to the bottom, but even if it does, it's still gonna be good. So I'm just gonna put all this in here. And I'll just use this since I already got this out. See, this is like a meal
It
almost.
is. That's what I said. I could just eat that with some milk. Now it's smoking. Your oil is smoking. Did I put enough of oil in there for you?
Yeah, in fact.
Okay. You want me to turn it off now since
Yeah.
it's smoking?
And I'm gonna move this over here. Yep.
It looks like it needs a little more oil
But
on it.
just a
Yeah.
tiny bit more.
That's
in
what
it,
I
Mary.
thought,
That's
too.
gonna cool it down
I
just
know.
a little bit.
I know.
And if we got too much for this skillet, then we'll just make another pan, but. You think I could put the rest of that in there?
I don't know.
That's
I
pretty,
wouldn't-
that's
Yeah,
pretty
I don't
cool,
think
isn't it?
I don't think I would
Okay.
chance it.
I'll get another little container to cook that in. So, we got a pretty good skillet full of cornbread
And you got
here.
your oven on
I
375?
got it on 375, and I'm going to.
You're cooking that on the top shelf. I mean,
I
okay.
am.
Okay.
And then I'm going to, oops, I'm going to get another skillet here. Set my timer. I'm not going to do the little 5-inch. I'm going to do this one.
Okay.
Just because this will be thin. It won't be.
That's all right. I like a crispy crust.
I do too.
I do.
Probably not quite enough.
And the more oil you put in it, the crispier
I know.
and the hotter the oil, the hotter the pan is also.
I always think about Ma Lee when Paul used to, say Grandma Lee, Paulie's mother, was also an excellent cook, just like Grandma
Yeah.
Hooper was. We didn't know her.
I didn't know
She
her.
died before we were born.
Right.
But I remember Mama talking about Paulie saying, and y'all, our Ma was such an excellent cook. And Paul said something about, you didn't make it like Mama did. This is probably in the early days of marriage.
Yeah.
And Mama said, well, I could if I'd put half a cup of grease in it. Or lard.
Or
That's
lard,
probably
yeah,
what they used
yeah.
was lard.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anybody
Ma
could cook
was
better
kind
than
of
Ma. Did you?
Ma was kind of a health person. I mean, in
Before
everything.
her time, yes.
Yes, she was. She was
She was very
She get
conscious
very-
of, yeah.
particular, but very particular about the way she cooked and the way she cooked.
She
I
was-
just
She was
remember
very
her.
methodical.
Yeah.
She always knew to put her meat on first. I've heard JC, our cousin, or maybe it was Kenneth, one of them, because they were around Ma a lot. They both lived down in that area, like we lived next to Pinky Ball. They lived down there, so they were in and out of their house all the time. And how Ma would have 25 or 30 people at her house on a Saturday, and this wasn't a holiday.
I know that.
This was
She
just a
always had
Saturday.
a house full.
And she would start cooking, and most of the time they didn't even know nobody was coming.
Mm.
It's just we just all showed up.
Yeah.
But you could see that red dirt flying around that curve by
I
the
know.
dairy barn, and they'd be one car get there, and then a few minutes later here come another car.
I don't see how in the world, looking back now,
I
thinking
know.
about how she managed to feed so many people whenever it was all the time. It was all the time.
This was not something that was once
Yeah.
or twice a year.
Yeah.
This was something
All the
that
time.
Ma and them,
Yeah.
and she would put her meat on first because it took the longest to
Right.
cook, and because she had a huge deep freeze. That deep freeze must have been
It was
8
a
foot
big
long.
one. It was a big
I don't
one.
even know if they make them this big or not anymore. It
I don't
still
know.
works.
Does it? Is that the same one at
That's the
Barnes?
same deep freeze that's in at the farm. That's the same deep freeze. That
Oh,
I'm now.
Lord.
I ain't learn here's this. She may correct me, but I'm pretty sure it's the same deep freeze.
Yeah, it may be. It may be.
A long chest deep freeze, and they kept it full.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what we always had our desserts on Christmas time.
that's
was that
what she
deep
put the
freeze.
desserts on. It sure is. All right, we're gonna put the rest of this in here. Okay, now I'm gonna take my roll scraper. Yeah, that was a lot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Whoops, making a mess. I cooked this in a bigger pan the last time.
Is that right?
Yeah,
The first batch.
yeah, but I wanted to cook it in the iron
Yeah.
skillet, so, don't you burn yourself, Mary. So, and this would have been too much for the little 5-inch one, so I'm glad I got this one out.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see if this comes out like, it tastes like tacos. I'm gonna let y'all be the judge of that,
Well,
but
I'll sure
it's,
tell you.
it's, something that, it's different, and probably, if you were gonna serve this with a meal,
Yeah.
I would serve it with like, if you're gonna serve it with like a Mexican meal, Cinco de Mayo's coming up, Spanish rice, tacos, you could do like taco soup would be good with this. Don't you think, Gary?
Oh, yeah.
Like taco
Absolutely.
soup?
Yes.
And so there's a lot of things you can serve it with. And again, if you just want a country supper,
Pinto
with your
beans.
pinto beans and
Yeah.
fried potatoes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It would be real good to have.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we got some time to chill here. And so,
Do you have any questions?
Y'all actually answered them.
Oh, okay.
okay. We were talking this morning about, we're always talking about, it seems like we talk about Pinky Mom and Pinky Paw a lot because we live next door to them. But Ma and Paul Lee were just as big a part of our lives as Pinky Mom and Pinky Paw. We just saw Pinky Mom and Pinky Paw more because we were, we lived next door to them, so we saw them every day. But we saw Ma and Paul at least twice a month.
I'm sure
At
we
least
did,
twice
yeah.
a month.
Yeah, it's about every other weekend we'd go down there. Yeah.
And we did spend the night sometimes. We would go on a Friday night. But most of the time we went, it was on a Saturday.
Right.
We went on
It was a
Saturday.
day trip.
And we got
Take
real
us all day,
early.
we'd be there all day.
Yeah, we got real early, and it's what,
Toward about
25, 30
Yeah.
miles to
Yeah,
the
it's about
farm.
25 miles.
Because the farm's
Yeah.
about
About 5 miles from Sharina.
past,
Yeah.
off the 95 south. So, but back then, you know, you didn't drive 70, 75 miles an hour. You probably drove 50.
We thought that was a long trip.
We thought it was a long trip.
Now we do that all the time.
32 miles to Longview,
I know.
and we drive it 2 or 3 times a week,
Right.
you know. But you think about, it was a dairy barn, it was dirt road, it was red dirt road. We had sand in Nacogdoches where we lived. Now, there was red dirt in Nacogdoches, but where we lived, it was sand, and the road wasn't paved, so we had white sand. But in Mom Hall's road was dirt, and when you turn off 95, 95 runs from, oh my goodness, it runs, I don't know where the
21
beginning
to
of it.
103. Oh,
Oh, it goes on to
Martinsville.
Martinsville and
Right,
Mount
yeah,
Enterprise, so
right.
it goes a long way, but it runs south. If you think about 21, it runs, 21 is east and west, and 95 is north and south. So it's between, 95 is between 21, the part that we're talking about, between Highway 21 and, that's a
103.
state highway,
And
and 103. Or we called it 103.
Yeah. We did, didn't we?
Y'all, I can tell a real Texan in probably the first minute I'm talking to them, because I know how we talk. So, somebody says 103, well,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? We're talking about a highway.
Right, right, that's right. Mom and Paul even had a little store on 103.
Yeah, they sure did. I wish we had them Chanel robes that Mama
I
bought us.
know it.
She got them for us for Christmas the year
Yes.
Daddy died.
We had Chanel bedspreads. You know, nowadays that's something that's popular. I mean, you know, just for the more expensive. But
Yeah.
back then, that's what we had. Those Chanel bedspreads.
and they were real colorful. It
robes.
was red
Right.
and blue,
Right.
bright colors.
Yeah.
It was really, really pretty. I don't know whatever happened to them. But we would turn off at 95, and it wasn't considered a county road like it is now.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even tell
I
you the
can't even think of
number.
the name of that road now. It's Cottonham Bridge
It was
Road.
Cottonham Bridge Road,
Yeah.
and our cousins could tell us, and I'm not even gonna say what I think it is, but I'm gonna look it up when we get off of here, because I think I know what it is, but I'm not positive. But we turned down that road, and as soon as we turned down it, if it had been raining, you started praying the minute you turned off at 59.
We'd slip and slide,
Yes.
especially down that hill.
Big ditches
Yeah.
on both sides of the
Yeah.
road, and we wasn't driving fast enough to get
No.
killed.
No, but I mean, hey, what that hill, but just before you got to Mother
Before you come around up that hill and around
yes,
that curve.
yes, we have slid sideways down that hill, getting down it before. All those kids, we'd all be praying. Those
We
kids,
would.
we'd be praying.
I think Daddy actually kind of liked it, because it was kind of a thrill to
he
him.
knew
but
he wasn't gonna get hurt or nothing.
He was a good driver, but Mama was praying. Cecil,
Yeah.
Cecil. I mean, she was praying. But they pulled many a person out of a ditch
Yeah,
with
you're
a
right.
tractor.
That's right.
That's how they
sure
pull
did.
people out of ditches.
Yes.
But when it wasn't raining and it was dry, that's when the red dirt was flying, and you could hear a car. And at that time, Mom Paul's house, and then the little red house was right below their house. They were the last ones on the road.
Mhm,
So
that's
if a car was coming, you knew it was
that was
coming
coming to
there.
us, yeah.
And if it wasn't a mailman, it was somebody coming to see Mom Paul.
Right.
And that dust, oh my goodness, that dust would fly. It would just be red in your car. And it's got shale on it today, which it's white, so it makes, if y'all don't know what shale is, it's kind of like white rocks.
Kind of limestone.
Yeah, and your tires in your car will be
It's
white.
white.
But back then, it was red. I mean, when you left the farm, your car looked like it had a paint job on it.
And Linda, one of our games was the first one to see the dairy barn.
Yep.
Once we turned the corner, we would say, "Who's going to be the first to see the dairy barn?" And we'd say, "I see the dairy barn,"
I see the dairy
because
barn.
that was right before Ma's house.
Yeah, we saw that. Every one of our cousins
Yeah.
always did it.
Yeah.
We always did it. And that dairy barn there for years before
know.
Aunt Laverne had it torn down.
Right. And go back and look at the pictures. It looks so little, but it didn't seem like it was that little to us.
Yeah.
When we was,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the cows.
Yeah,
they
and the
commercials.
when they
Yeah.
milked the cows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul ran a dairy
Dairy
barn
barn.
for several years. He did.
Yeah.
Have y'all? I'm moving from then to now. Have y'all watched the Jeopardy series with the universities?
No,
It
I'm not
just-
smart enough
It
for
just
Jeopardy.
started- I hate
Hey,
to
this
even
is a
say
smart one.
this.
This is a smart
I
one
hate to
here.
even say this, but and I don't even know what all universities has been on it. I know Rice and LSU, they were both really smart kids, and I couldn't even tell you what was the kids that were on it. But I'm sitting there. This was Monday night when we watched it the first time. I think it was Monday night. Mike tapes the show, so I don't know when this was on, y'all. So if I'm saying it wrong, don't think I'm lying, because I don't know when these shows are on. He tapes them because he don't like commercials. But anyway,
That's what Chuck is.
I answered. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I answered about 80% of the questions right. A lot of them they didn't
I
know.
believe that.
I got
I
the
believe
final
that.
Jeopardy question right, and Mike was like, every time they'd say something I'd answer, he was like, "How'd you know that?"
I told you, you've always been the smart one.
And then last night I got the final question right. And one of the questions they asked that they missed was, which anybody from the South would know this. You wouldn't have to be smart to know this. They asked, "What bread did you use with pot liquor?" Well, hello, you use cornbread with pot liquor.
Oh, yeah.
What's pot liquor?
Pot liquor is the juice from collard greens or turnip greens.
Yes, yeah. That's right.
And I am totally going from one thing to the other. But this is one of the things I believe is in Mama's book.
Oh, you about the pot liquor?
When Mama and Uncle Herschel were babies, they were twins, and Mom didn't give enough milk to feed both of these babies. And the first time I read this in Mama's book, I cried like a baby when I read this, because I can't even imagine feeding this to a baby.
I know, but I just, they had to survive. I mean, now, of course, I know some of them didn't.
And it was
but-
nutrition,
yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
what Molly had.
You just have to
And she fed pot liquor to those babies to
Yeah.
keep them alive.
alive. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is sad. It is sad.
Do you remember when we were in Wichita Falls and Haley was, I don't know, I want to say maybe she was walking, so I'm thinking she was around 18 months, maybe 18 months, and we had stood in line. It was Sunday after church, and
Okay.
you were with us. There's a whole bunch of us.
Yeah.
Lynn, you may have been with us too.
I don't know.
And we stood in line. Excuse me.
Especially with some
I got a
water.
bit for something. Now I gotta wash my hands. So we stood in line for a long time, waiting on our table. And when we got to the table, they ordered some appetizers, and they ordered
Okay.
spinach dip.
Oh, okay. I can't remember
And
this.
somebody, I don't know who, Carla, I hope it wasn't you, fed that baby some spinach dip. She ate the first bite.
Haley?
Yes. And the second bite, she just started crying, and Carla, I remember her, she's crying real tears. I said, "That's child abuse to feed a baby spinach dip."
That
was
was,
the reason she was crying?
Yes, because
Really?
she didn't hated it.
well, if I was there, it was probably me.
I don't remember. I was thinking somebody else, but I'm not going to say his name. But anyway, when I thought about that pot liquor, I thought about
Yeah,
that. Now I've
yeah.
got to wash my hands. And
Well, I remember when Renee, Carla's baby, Renee, we went to, I think it was Golden Corral, back when we lived in Angleton, and I was eating a salad. Well, she was a baby. I mean, she's in a high chair, and she had can eat food. She wasn't an infant. But I was eating my salad, and little Renee kept saying, "Mama, I like rabbit food." I said, "You do?" And I didn't know where she was coming from. And a few minutes later, she said, "Mama, I like rabbit food." And then Carla said she likes salad. I said, Renee, do you want some of Mama's salad? And she said yes, and I gave her some salad. But to me, because I didn't even eat salad till I was grown. I didn't eat salad when I was a kid. So I just couldn't imagine her being a small child and her liking salad. But anyway, she did. And
I remember that I was there with y'all.
yeah.
Yep. And they did. They loved. And Carla doesn't eat salad.
And
does
Carla
she?
don't eat salad. No,
No,
she will eat spinach.
Raw
raw
spinach.
spinach. But she won't eat the salad. And like I said, I was grown before I ever would. But I do now. And I actually enjoy a good salad. But of course, I put a lot of things in my salad too. I'm like Linda. I like the fruit, the pineapple, strawberries, cranberries, dried cranberries. And so it's almost like trying to cover up a little bit of the lettuce.
Mike liked that salad so good the other night that we
Yeah.
had. You know that picture that he said, "Can we have that salad again this weekend?" And I said, "Yeah." I've got another pack of chicken. I bought the thin
Sounds
slice.
good. Yeah, it
And
sounds
I just
really
have to
good.
get another pineapple and some
Okay.
fruit. Okay.
You got a question?
Several.
Okay.
Where was Ma and Paul from?
Ma and Paul. Paul was born in Janesville, right down there in southern Nacogdoches County. Ma, I guess, was born somewhere in Shelby County. Ma Lee, not.
Oh, it's her
not-
parents that came
not
from
Grandma,
Illinois.
yeah, not
Okay.
Grandma Hooker.
Okay.
I think they meant Molly and Paul, or Pinky Mom, Pinky Paul.
Pinky Mom and Pinky Paul, they were from East Texas. I want to say where they were born.
Treyrick is where the
Treywick is where the
kids are buried.
I thought for years that Pinky Mom was baptized at the church in Cushing, but she wasn't. She was baptized at the Methodist Church in Treywick, in Timpson, not
Okay,
Treywick, in
okay,
Timpson.
okay.
So yeah, they're from
from East
Nacogdoches, from East Texas. Yeah, because Grandpa Pinkston, they were also from East Texas. So Pinky Mom and them were born in East Texas too. Pinky Mom was a Beasley.
Yeah. And there, is it Pinky Paul's? Is Pinky Paul's grandfather was Indian? Wasn't it Pinky Paul's?
It was Pinky
Was
Paul's.
Cherokee Indian. Chief. Wasn't it his?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
Somebody in the family had a chief. Oh, I think it's
there was-
Bobby's side. That's
I
Bobby's
know
side.
there was a great grandmother of Pinky Paul's that was, and those are the ones that are buried in Deadwood. She was the daughter of an Indian chief.
Okay.
And they were actually one of the first land grant holders in Texas.
Yeah,
did you know that?
I did know that. Yes,
Yeah.
I did. I
That would have been
forgot
Pinky
that, but
Paul's.
that is true.
I think it would have been Pinky Paul's grandparents.
It might be.
I think it was
It's a
Daddy's
Kingston
great-grandparents.
cemetery. Yeah, in Deadwood. Yeah. So.
We
any
went
other
around the
questions?
world to answer that one.
Do you have to be a member to order cookbooks?
Absolutely not. You
No.
can order anything off of our website. The membership is for people that want, it's a service for people that want our recipes and they're printable. And that's $5.99 a month plus any applicable taxes in your area.
Right. And on our, you go to our website, which is PinkyMallsKitchen.com, and that's where we have the mugs with the Pinky Malls logo on it, and then our white and pink aprons, and children's aprons are red. We need to show a child's apron sometimes. And that's what we have in our cookbook. That's what we have on our website. And you just go on PinkyMallsKitchen.com and scroll down, and it will say products. It also shows a picture of the cookbook.
Yeah.
You can just click on cookbook or products, and it will take you to where you can order them.
And once we get Mama's book, it'll be on
Right.
there too.
Yes, and Mother's book will be on there.
And it's
So.
pretty. I know I said this yesterday, but every time I think about it, it's
know.
these pages that my mama wrote, what, 25, 28 years
Yes.
ago, or they're printing right now. So
I was talking to my pastor's wife last night. She said she wanted 2 of them, and she knew somebody in Nacogdoches that wanted one of them.
speaking of that, we're going to be at hopefully we're gonna get
Yes.
the ladies conference.
At the ladies' conference, it's not a final because I've got to find out if there's still a booth available, and I'll be contacting the lady today
Okay.
to see if there's a booth available. If there is a booth available at the ladies' conference, we will have a booth at the ladies' conference, but it's not set for sure because I got to talk to
If not,
later.
are we gonna do it at the hotel?
well, that's something we gotta think about because that would tie us down there at the hotel. I don't know how many people would come to the hotel.
To justify
We'll have to
us
think,
to
right.
stay? Okay.
Right, so
All
we
right.
gotta think about that for a little bit, so we hadn't discussed that in length yet.
And that's in Lufkin, Texas, and
Yeah.
I read that comment where somebody didn't understand when Mary mentioned
no.
Lufkin. It's Lufkin. It's south of Nacogdoches. It's where the UPCI campgrounds is at for this area.
Right, I'm looking forward to it.
Next.
So,
Okay, hold on 2 seconds. I'm sorry, I have to get this.
That's okay. I'm gonna
Linda,
actually
stop
get up
her.
and turn the oven up.
and antlers on. That lets us know that there is a question. We have our own little way of communication. Yeah, that's the little antlers that Linda has on her head whenever y'all ask a question. We try to answer y'all's questions. We used to not do this because we cooked the entire time, but now that we want to show y'all the finished product, it takes time for it to cook. And we're trying to limit cooking it ahead of time and then recooking it again. It just got where it was a lot of groceries.
Okay, so have y'all done your family genealogy before?
Well,
Mother
that depends too. Mother has quite extensive on the Lee and Hooper, and is it McGraw? I think it's McGraw.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I know I got the book that she gave us. Was it Grandma Hooper or Grandma Lee's background?
Well, she's got both in it.
genealogy.
I've got
she does have both
one
in
in
it.
there
It's been
too.
a while since I looked at it. It's a book.
The Pinkstons, she started doing that, and I've done a little bit of research. I don't belong to Ancestry.com. I don't have the research sources. We have it's our second cousin who was a Hooper, Cinda, has given us a lot of information regarding, she'll look something up for us. She's so good to look stuff up. She was Mama's youngest first cousin, wasn't she, Cinda? I think, because it was Uncle George and
It was Uncle
and
George's
Dolly's youngest daughter. I
Right.
think she was the youngest cousin.
Which I believe I think she was. Yeah.
She's really good at it.
She's
really
really good.
smart.
Whenever we say Cindy, and I see her,
Cinda. It's Cinda.
when I see her at like a reunion, which has been a long time since I've seen her, I still see
That little blonde-headed girl.
Yes, I
Yeah.
still see that
Yeah.
little blonde-headed girl.
Me too,
Okay.
absolutely. Because
That's what I think of
she's
it.
a lot younger than
Yes,
us.
she is. She's
Or
young.
several years younger than us, anyway. And she's been a big blessing. If I ever have any questions, she's done a lot of research on the Hoopers that came, or not the Hoopers, but Grandma Hooper, which wasn't a Hooper. I think she was a McGraw.
Is that right?
No, she was a
think
Hinkle. She was a Hinkle.
That sounds
Hinkle.
familiar. That sounds
Hinkle.
familiar.
McGraw was another part of their
Okay.
of that family. But she was a Hinkle. I don't know why in the world that slipped my mind. But she came, Grandma Hooper, who died when I was in the 7th grade, Molly's mother, she rode, and we've said this before too, but she came with her family from Peoria, Illinois, and yes, I do know how to say Illinois, in a covered wagon
Yes.
when she was a little girl, and they came to Shelby County, Texas, and settled. And I spent the
remember
night
Grandma.
in Peoria,
I-
Illinois.
Have you?
Yeah,
I-
right on the river.
I remember Grandma Hooper. I remember her.
Oh, I
in that
remember her
bed.
real
Yeah,
well.
I do too.
I do too. Okay,
What's your favorite meat dish?
meat dish. You want to go first?
My
Mary?
favorite meat dish, I like Mexican food. As far as
Like
like
the
a Mexican
Mexican
casserole.
green tortilla.
Yeah, that's probably mine. A meat dish. Now chicken pot pie is right there under it. Matter of fact, I am getting hungry for a chicken pot pie, and I'm thinking about making one of them Friday.
I know that green tortilla is in our cookbook.
It is.
Is a chicken pot pie recipe in there? I want to say it is, but I'm not positive.
It might be. Mama's the one who taught me how to do the chicken pot pie, and my neighbor told me that when I made another, she wanted some. So, and then there's a sweet lady in our church that she doesn't have an appetite, and she told me when I talked to her last night, she said she just didn't have an appetite to eat. I think she might eat a little chicken pot pie. So I think
Do you have some little throwaway?
I have some little pans
to go in.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do, and I'm gonna make her some. Just got kind of heavy on my heart this morning.
My favorite meat dish would be slow fried chicken breast. That's what I
That's
like.
her favorite. Is
I'm
chicken
so
breast.
generic, it's pitiful, y'all. Potatoes and chicken is my thing, and biscuits and gravy. Remember,
I like meat. I like just about any kind of meat.
I like grilled pork chops too.
Well, that's good too.
Grilled pork chops, especially if it's in the summertime. A perfect meal in the summertime for me would be either the slow fried chicken or a grilled pork chop with purple whole peas, fresh sliced tomatoes, cream corn, and cornbread.
That's
homemade pickles. That would be.
That's the to me. That's what I think about in my childhood.
Yeah.
Is that's the kind of food that we
banana pudding for dessert. That would be a perfect meal.
Yeah.
Because that's what
good.
we had when we were
Yes.
kids. We loved it.
Yes. So.
And we cook different in the winter than we do in the summer. So.
Yes.
Oh, you're ready for me?
Uh-huh.
Favorite Bible verse? Not verse, a story. I think that's what they said.
Bible
Favorite
story?
story.
Oh,
Bible
y'all get me
story.
crying on
I guess probably whenever, see, I can't remember names. When Moses was put in whenever the mother,
Red Sea.
who?
The Red Sea. When he was put in the Red Sea?
No, whenever his mother put him in the bush, when she
The
gave
basket.
him in the basket, because that's for a mother to love her
To give her
child
for
so
him to
much
live.
for him to live. That's a mother's love, and I guess that's kind of would be my favorite, because favorite story is because she had to love that child an awful lot to give him up for him to live, because they
Right.
was going to kill all the firstborns, the babies. And so anyway, what's your favorite story?
There's so many stories in the Bible, and I love Psalmist David, and I love all the Psalms and the Scriptures. But my favorite story in the Bible would be, and I think about this so almost on a daily basis, because we're always saying to count your blessings, and when you pray, we were taught to come into, I'm not going to quote the scripture exactly right, but entering into his courts with thanksgiving and into his something with praise.
Yes.
So that's how
Sanctuary.
that's how I have always been taught to pray, and every day that I pray, that's how I do. I start out with thanking him.
Yes.
So my favorite story in the Bible is when Jesus healed the 10 lepers, and there was only one that went back to thank him. And that just, every time I think about that, I think, God, don't ever let me be ungrateful.
Me too.
Don't
Me
ever
too.
let me not
Right.
forget to
Right.
thank you, because to me, that was a horrible, horrible disease. And 9 just went on their merry way, like it was just nothing.
So ungrateful.
And then one person thanked him. So that's probably my favorite Bible story. And I'm sorry, but every
No,
time I
that's
think
good.
about it,
Yeah.
it brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah. Well, I know that's the first thing I do before I ever get out of bed in the morning is thank the Lord for another day,
Waking you up.
waking me up in a good night's rest and all the blessings that He gives me every day.
That old song that we used to sing, and it may even be a chorus. He woke me up this morning, started me on my way, and He's the joy of my salvation. Yes, He is. You
Yeah.
remember singing that?
And I don't remember it, but I'm sorry.
We sang that a lot in Jesus' Name Tabernacle.
Did you?
Yeah, back in the younger years,
And
in the 60s
well, I
or
can't
something.
remember. But anyway, God is good. He is so good to all of us. I thank you for being good to my kids, you know, so.
Yeah.
All of us. Every time we're on the road a lot.
We are on
And
the road
the
a
Lord
lot.
keeps his hand upon us.
And they
so
say that,
much.
most people that get killed from traffic accidents die close to home.
I know that.
That's
I know
because,
that.
that's usually where you're at.
Yeah.
About, what was it, about 3 months ago, that I was leaving your house, and I've never
Oh,
told
yes,
this.
Yes.
I was leaving Mary. Mary lives on a county road right off of 259, and there's a little hill coming that's going south. So there's a little knoll, and you have to be very careful, or I've always been very careful
have
when
to,
you
'cause
pull
it's a
out,
little
because
hill, yeah.
a car can come over that hill while you're pulling across the highway. And in order to see, you have to pull up pretty close to 259, which is a
Right.
divided 4-lane highway. And I pulled up, and I don't know if you noticed this or not, but these tracks are still there. The
Oh,
tracks
yeah.
are still
Oh,
there.
yeah, absolutely. I do.
So I pulled up, not on the highway. I'm a very careful driver, but that the accidents can happen to anybody because it's not always your fault, right? So I pulled up to where I could see, and this pickup, here's the highway right here, and this is coming south on 259, and here I am right here.
You're
and-
coming out this way.
Yes, and this pickup was he was doing at least 80. Here I am right here. I'll do a visual for y'all. And this pickup was coming right toward me. I mean, he literally was not feet. This man was inches from hitting me. And I froze. And I knew that I should put the car in reverse, but I couldn't. It was like
It
milliseconds.
was so quick. Yeah.
But I couldn't get it in reverse, and I said, he's going to hit me, and I'm going to be killed right here, a half a mile from my sister's house. And I know he
This is
missed
the
my
truck.
car, yes.
He was coming down this highway here.
Instead of going straight, he was coming at an angle right straight at me, and it was a big truck. It was one of those super trucks. And he went right by me, come over here, turned over, and then come back upright. And I opened the door to get out. I was so shook up, before I could even get out of the car, there was already a half a dozen people had stopped. And all I could think of was, did I cause this accident? Because I don't know why in my mind I was thinking I wasn't in the road and the guy was coming. But then after I finally got my wits enough together, and I don't know if he was hurt or not. He did get out of the truck. But after I got my wits to cross this double highway, I called Mary, and I told her, but I was so shook up I didn't really tell her right, and
No,
Mary
I
didn't understand.
I didn't understand what
She thought I was
talking
already
about.
crossing the highway.
Yeah.
And I just kept saying, Mary, did I cause this wreck? Did I cause this wreck? And she wasn't even putting the picture together. But then
I went down
later
there.
that day,
I went down
you
there.
went, and she saw where this guy had run off of the road
Way down before he ever got to
before he got to 107.
He crossed, he got in that media and went a long ways, deep ruts, before he could ever get control enough to get back on the highway. And when he got back on the highway, he was still going fast. He couldn't correct it, and that's why he was headed straight
Yes.
to you.
And I'm going to tell you, I saw that pickup coming toward me for days after that.
Imagine.
It really, really did scare me, and you could believe that I was the one that went back and thanked him. I
Yeah.
thanked God for a bunch of days for keeping me
Because
safe.
that was, it could have so easily happened.
And I would
So
have been
easy.
killed.
That's
the
a
man
bad-
was driving so fast.
Coming out of my road onto 259, it is a bad
Wash my
place.
hands a little
You
bit.
do
Wash
have to be very careful. That's not the first time, Linda, that something has happened like that, of missing, running up that embankment. So it's just a bad,
It
place
is.
when
It's
you're coming
a
out
bad
there.
space. You just have to be very careful.
Right.
You do. Okay.
Smoke?
Yeah. I smell it. Do you smell that
Oh, I
taco?
do.
I think this is probably done.
The small pen might be,
It's pretty, yeah,
Yeah, I think
these
the
do.
small
I
one.
think they're both good.
Okay, good. I make just a taste of it.
Now this is going to be moist, y'all, so it might appear
Yeah.
that it's not quite done,
It's
but
that
it's
cream
moist
corn.
because it's got that corn in it.
Yeah.
So let me
Where are you
get.
gonna put it on?
I'm gonna get a couple of saucers here,
Okay.
and you're probably gonna.
So you're
need-
not gonna flip it out onto a big plate?
Well, I can.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I was just gonna leave it in the skillet.
I just thought that when you leave it in the skillet, it sweats and makes the
Yeah,
crust
it
soft.
probably-
Does it?
probably
I mean, you
does.
don't have to do that now, but that's what I've always been told. Is that true? Is that true, or do you
Probably
always
does.
leave it?
It probably does. You see people leave it in the skillet
Yeah.
to keep it hot.
Yeah.
You know, that was
Well,
one
you don't
thing
have to
that I was
move it, but you just leave it in the skillet, Linda, so it'll stay hot for y'all. Just take one of them out, whichever one you're gonna cut.
Well, I'm gonna send one of these home with you.
We'll send the one you're gonna cut. home.
No, because that wouldn't be enough for y'all. Uh-oh.
Didn't get it hot enough, maybe?
I'm gonna find out in a minute.
Do you want a spatula?
I think it'll come out.
Okay. Ooh, looks good.
See that meat kinda, some of it
Yeah.
kinda went to the bottom.
Yeah.
And we'll move it over here and
Okay.
get, I hope this is. Now again, this is gonna have
Just cut.
like a,
Yeah, I know. I've made something not just like this, but when you put cream corn in cornbread, it is moist.
so you may think it's not done,
Oh,
but it
no.
actually is. Okay, let me get you a fork, Mary.
That smells good. And Linda, the meat mixture didn't all just
No,
go.
it didn't. I did it because I put it in with the batter.
Yeah.
Because before I layered it. And,
Thank you,
do you
Linda.
have water?
Oh, I don't need that right now. I got the whole wall just really went on there.
Jesus.
Yes, thank you, Lord.
It's got, now you can add more meat to it if you wanted to. This would be really good with some taco soup, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Hot. You can taste the taco season.
It's delicious.
Linda, did you want to try it? No.
No, thank you.
She's been good.
Yeah. It's delicious, Linda. And I will eat that whole piece too.
I don't know what I wouldn't even eat this with some peas or butter beans.
Oh yeah, anything would be delicious. It's delicious. It's delicious by itself.
It's very, very moist and creamy because
It is very
when you
good.
put corn in something,
Very, very good.
it's just it's not going to be dry like a piece of cornbread.
Right, right. It's very good. Very good.
So if y'all never tried this before, get in the kitchen and try it. It would be something good to add to your
A little different.
supper,
Mhm.
something different from just a regular pan of cornbread.
And it's it got a little spice. You can taste the spice. It's not too much for me.
It's subtle, yeah.
It's very good.
I had more in the first batch that I
Did you?
cooked a few days ago.
Yeah. Very good.
But you will get a kick from it. You know, you'll get a little bit. I didn't put any cayenne in it. I did in the other batch that I made. Does anybody else say anything? We want to ask y'all to share us. We're on YouTube, Pinky Moss Kitchen. Our videos are on there. Linda uploads them usually the same day that we do a new video. Ask your friends to follow us. Make sure they're on the right page. This
And
page.
subscribe on our
Yeah,
YouTube.
subscribe on our YouTube channel. And be sure to like our videos. We appreciate that so much for you to do that. And we will be back Tuesday of next
Tuesday
week.
at my house.
And if we still have people tell us they don't get the notifications that we're on, I try to remember to create the events, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes it slips up and I don't create them. But you want to tell them about the bell?
On the bell, I know it's on YouTube. I don't think I've ever seen the bell on Facebook, but on YouTube, there's a little bell up there, and if you'll click on that bell, you will get notified, because I've clicked on that bell on somebody else's site, and it notifies me every time it comes
I
on.
think there's a bell on Facebook
Is
too.
it? It
I
may
think
be,
it is.
but I know YouTube is.
So make sure your notifications are on. Of course,
Right.
you can always watch us on replay. But we appreciate it. We appreciate
Yes.
y'all sharing us. And we hope that y'all will get in the kitchen, cook something good with your family, have a great weekend. And don't forget to count your blessings and thank Him for what He's done for you.
Yes. Bye.
Bye-bye.